Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun Benzion. Today's daf is Nedarim daf Yud number 10. The Gemara records a machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish whether kinuyim, which is talked about in the first Mishnah Masechta and explained more in this Mishnah daf Yud. Kinuy Nedarim, Nedarim. A kinuy, a nickname of a neder, is like a neder itself. Instead of the word korban, you say konam. That's fully valid midaraisa. Rabbi Yochanan holds that it's midoraisa, it's valid because it's lashon umma saying it's a lashon of not Jewish people. Korban is a lashon of Jewish people. Kohanam is a lashon of non-Jewish people. Now, I'm not familiar with all the languages in the world. There's probably a lot of languages in the world. There's probably more languages than nations in the world. There's only like 195 nations. I don't know how many languages there are. I have to check it up. But technically, lashon umma saying, I don't know what language Kohanam is. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, if you say sacrifice, right? That's just translating into English or something like that. That technically should also be part of it, right? Lashon Umma is saying. So once you're saying it's Lashon Umma is saying, so any language, any foreign language that is the equivalent or a nickname of the word korban should be okay. Midoraisa. Reish Lakish said it's only the Rabbanon. And obviously, according to Reish Lakish, it's only these languages. They created these languages that sound like the word korban in order people shouldn't take a neder. So you shouldn't make a mistake and say the word Hashem Shamayim Levatala. You shouldn't say the word korban, because if you say korban, you'll say korban la Hashem. It's not you'll say la Hashem without saying korban, you'll say Shem Shemayim B'Atala. So therefore, they made words that were similar to korban that weren't exactly korban, so you shouldn't trip up and say Hashem's name L'Vatala. That's according to Reish Lakish. According to Reish Lakish, it's very clear. Only these exact words that Chazal came up with have the din of kinui nedarim. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it's not so clear, right? Do we say, let's say English, translations in English, Spanish, whatever language you want to have, would they also be asur midoraisa or not? So, I think it's really dependent on a discussion the Gemara has in Yom Beis. The Gemara records machlokes between Beis Shammai and Hillel whether kinuyim are asur or not, right? Let's say I have a nickname of a nickname. So, kinuyim would be, let's say in English would be sacrifice. So, I say a word like offerings or something like that. Offerings would be burnt offerings. My uncle opened a Chinese restaurant many years ago. It's called Tanli Chow in Queens. I don't know if people remember that. Many years now, I think it turned into Annie's Kitchen. I don't know if Annie's Kitchen is still around Main Street. So when he opened the restaurant, he was not sure what to name it. So first he wanted to call it burnt offerings. That was, like a sacrifice. You're supposed to eat. There's a mitzvah to eat korbanos. So I don't know why Chinese food would be sacrifices, but that's what he wanted to call it. He ended up calling it Tanli Chow, which Tanli, in Hebrew it means give me chow. In Chinese, chow, I guess, is food. That was the name for a store. But burnt offerings, let's say burnt offerings would be kinuyim. The translation of korban would be sacrifice. Burnt offerings would be a nickname of a nickname. Would that be asur? Beis Shammai says, yeah. Beis Hillel says, no. And that's how we paskin like Beis Hillel. And the Gemara tries to figure out how do we understand Beis Hillel in light of Rabbi Yochanan. If Rabbi Yochanan says, lashon umma is saying it's doraisa, right? The Gemara says in Daf Gimel, it's doraisa. So therefore, why didn't they make a gezerah of kinuyi and atu kinuyin, right? Normally you make one gezerah to safeguard a doraisa. So the Gemara gives two different answers why we don't do that. One answer is Beis Shammai holds Bahani Nami Mishtaya Uma. This Hillel Tzari Bahani Lo Mishtaya Uma. The first answer of the Gemara is that people other foreign nations don't talk like that. They don't talk kinuya. They don't talk kinuya. They might translate it as sacrifice. They're not going to say burnt offerings. This piece of bread should be asur on me like burnt offering. Then they give a second answer. And the Gemara says the second answer. Shammai said Gavrina kinuya mishukanu. So Savri lo Gazrina kinuya. It's too far away. It's not connected already to the lashon of korban, right? You're trading korban, the sacrifice, and the burnt offering. It's not close enough to make a gzera. But Shammai says, no, we'll make the gzera over here. So I would say like this: so the difference in these two answers is as follows. According to the first answer, that lashon people don't talk like this. I think it would depend whether people actually talk like that or not. Meaning, yes, maybe the words in the Gemara that, like the Gemara says, konam is the kinoi, and the Gemara says, what's kinuyim? The Gemara says, mekanmena, mekankana, mekantana. Yochanan holds, no one says that's not. Maybe some people say these languages, but Rove people don't use that language. If Rove people don't use that language, we can't give it the validity of a korban or treating it as a neder. But in a language like, I would say, English, where you're trying to sacrifice and burnt offerings is often used interchangeably with sacrifices. So maybe you would. Maybe, according to this answer, even Rabbi Yochanan and even Beis Hillel would agree that kinui kinui would make it a neder. According to the second answer, you can't say that. Because according to the second answer, Rabbi Yochanan is saying, I'll with the Beis Hillel, is that basically they weren't gozer. They felt that it wasn't necessary. The whole idea of kinuyim, even though it's doraisa, right? And what level is doraisa? It's not exactly the same level as a biblical commandment, because it's a translation of a biblical commandment. It's a svara, but to make another jump or make a gzeira on something which is not exactly a biblical, it is doraisa. It has validity from the Torah, but it's a svara. It's a logical conclusion. It's like a mamatzino. It's not exactly direct from the Torah. It's a little bit indirect from the Torah. It's translation. So therefore, once it's a little indirect, so we'll make a gzeira over there. It wouldn't matter whether people talk like that or people don't want to talk like that. In general, they didn't make a gzeira on kinuyim. And according to the first answer, it would make a difference, right? It would depend whether people actually talk like say kinuyim. Now, the fact that the Gemara, after this discussion, asks, what are kinuyim of Nedarim, of Shvuah, of Nazirus? Why is the Gemara asking these questions? Right? Why is the Gemara asking these questions? If we say, we hold like Rabbi Yochanan, we hold like Beis Hillel, they weren't gozer on kinuyim, so why is the Gemara talking why is it talking according to Beis Shammai? Why is it talking according to Reish Lakish? So the answer must be, like the first answer is the main answer. Usually the first answer is more valid than the second answer, and therefore the Gemara is asking, what are kinuyim of that language, the language Aramaic, or whatever language, right, that are not valid, implying that in a place where people actually use kinuyim, they would be valid, and that's why it specifies exactly what the kinuyim are. It's saying in that language, Aramis, or whatever the language the Gemara says, that's where kinuyim are not effective. But Yochanan Beis Hillel would say kinuyim are aser in other languages. Again, this chiddush is coming out l'chumra over here, but this is what I think the truth is. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.